Chapter 16. He awoke in the late evening under a starlit Nebraska sky. The heaviness of his eyelids kept him comfortably at rest while some semblance of alertness leaked into his sleep, more and more every few seconds. He finally made several attempts to open his eyes despite the burning. He found some partial relief after a series of blinks. Waking without memory of Pradicus or Jake, he took a quick glance around. Moi. My goodness, how long have I been asleep? He muttered. He sat up, finding himself in the middle of his uncle's wheat field. Whoa, he said, rubbing his forehead. This is crazy. His hands moved toward the top of his head where he ran fingers through his hair and sighed. Through a large drawn-out yawn, he tried his best to recall the earlier events of his day. Images of lunch with a friend slowly materialized. Everyone's probably wondering where I'm at, he said with a chuckle. I slept straight through dinner. Wow. He struggled to stand to his feet, losing his balance a bit along the way, but managed well, considering how sore and tight his muscles felt. He stretched mightily, bellowing out a fantastic roaring exhale that seemed long overdue. A gentle gust caught him just right. He closed his eyes as the wind caressed his face. He then turned to watch the tips of prairie wheat sway back and forth in response to the breeze's light, flirting touches. The night's brilliant moonlight allowed him to see for miles in every direction. What in the world are you doing out here again? A tender elderly woman's voice asked. You missed dinner again. I had the table set nice tonight just for you. I'm so sorry, I didn't mean to miss, he said, pausing as memories of his journey trickled back in. Wait a second, where's Andy? He asked. Is she okay? Land's sakes, Derek, I swear, that girl's got a hold on you, something awful. Well, I guess I figured she'd be the reason you'd be out here so late. You just saw her this afternoon. What time is it? He asked, somewhat confused. I had a date with her tonight. Man, I've let her down, haven't I? She's gonna think I blew her off. Is it too late to see her? It is kind of late. Why don't you just see her tomorrow? Can I at least give her a call? Good heavens, Derek, she said, relenting. You know what? It's not all that late. I'm sure she'd appreciate another visit. She attended his side and escorted him by the arm. Your legs give out on you again, or what? Come on, I'll walk with you. He smiled at her. Maybe we can keep our date after all. Again, do you have the time? Hang on, Derek, I'll check in a minute, she said. She reached into a pocket in her gown and pulled out a small, smooth chrome disc about the size of a $50. Don't want to drop one of these in the field again. That was quite the headache, she said with a chuckle. As the two reached the edge of the wheat field and turned towards the barn, Derek realized it looked different, possibly restored. Wow, when did that happen? As the words barely left his mouth, a holographic image began to take shape above the held-out disc. Aunt Frida, what in the world? Derek said, taken aback by the sight. A high-resolution, three-dimensional, football-sized weatherman announced himself. Good evening, Miss Katie. Dale E. Forecast at your service. How can I assist you this beautiful evening? And I see Sir Derek is joining you. Shall I prepare his evening cocktail? Derek stopped cold. What did he just call you? And how does that thing know me? Aunt Frida, what's going on here? Derek, it's okay. We need to jog your memory a smidge. Let you catch up after that big nap. Wait a minute. Nap? I should have ended up back in the barn. This is all wrong. I mean, just moments ago I cut myself free with Jake's. Yes, I know, Derek, she interrupted. Everything will make sense in another second. But he called you Katie, Aunt Frida, he said, staring into her wrinkled but beautiful eyes. That's because my name isn't Frida, Derek. It's Katie. The world he knew slowly came to a grinding halt as he lifted his eyes. It's currently 8:47 p.m. on a beautiful November 28th evening, the holographic image stated in the background. A vague awareness fell over him upon his glimpsing a familiar image. Katie's words began to process. My name isn't Frida, Derek. It's Katie. He freed himself of her escorting arm and approached a wonderfully filigreed tombstone displaying the name Andrea Halle Schaefer in a fancy script. He shuffle-stepped his way closer toward the beautiful stone slab. It read, "Resting peacefully here and in our hearts." Then had the date November the 28th beneath it. What? That's today. He turned to Katie with a lost expression and flooding eyes. He asked, "How is this possible? You're saying she's gone?" Katie took him by the hand. "November 28th is the day you came back 54 years ago. Sweetie, we've been over this many times." 54 years, he whispered. He looked down at his hands and found them wrinkled and slender and scattered with age spots. Fighting back the pressing lump in his throat was like holding a dam together with good intentions. Glimpses of his surprise were revealed upon his curling frown. He gently brushed his fingers over her name on the tombstone. He heaved the words, "I'm so sorry," as the lump in his throat gave way. He nearly collapsed from his wailing. "She never made it back. Sweetie, we've gone over this many, many times for the last 6 or 7 years. Don't you remember?" "Andy, I'm so sorry," he cried. "It wasn't supposed to be like this." He looked back at the elderly woman. "Is it really you, Katie? Little Katie?" She smiled sympathetically. "Yes, Derek, little Katie, although I'm not so little anymore," she said, shaking her head and chuckling. He had the presence of mind to look down at her ring finger. It bore a plain gold band. He gazed down at his own finger. She addressed him with a snigger. "No, Derek, you and I never... Katie," he called through a sobbing voice. "What happened? Dear God, what went wrong?" She stepped up next to him and held him closely. "What did I do, Katie?" "She's gone." "I know. I don't even really remember her, except that she used to tickle us. I do know that." A sudden clarity for the life he'd lived away from Andy began to dawn. "When did I stop waiting for her?" "Well, you let go a few years after I came to live with you." "How long ago was that?" 22 years ago." He turned to her quickly. "What? 22 years? You're joking." She shook her head. "Who were you married to?" He said, pointing down at her finger. "I was engaged 5 times, but, well, never married." His face immediately expressed heartbreak. "I'm sorry, Katie. So whose ring?" She blushed just a tad. "You don't remember?" "Well, I was just asking. I didn't mean to pry." No, it's your ring. You gave it to me while on a cruise," he interjected. "That's right," he added, squeezing her hand. "Several of us went together, and I told you on the deck one evening that if neither of us were married by the time you turned 49, that I'd marry you." She grinned and glanced away. "How did I ever forget about that? Don't tell me that's coming up soon." "It's about time to get you in," she said. "I'll wait over here while you visit with Sister. Then we'll go in and have some ice cream." "Now wait just 1 second. If I'm 13 years older than you, and I'm currently," he said, reflecting for a moment, then continued, 71, then you, of course, would be. He counted on his fingers. "Oh my, I'm just letting everyone down, aren't I?" "Sweetie, let's get you in." "Katie, what happened to me? Why do I keep forgetting?" "We should be thankful for the warm weather this week. We need to get you inside." "Katie, please, I need to know." She touched his arm and then sighed, pressing her lips. "Let's talk inside, Derek." "Katie, no. Whatever this is I'm hanging on to needs to be dealt with." She debated for a moment and then conceded. "All right, honey. About 25 years ago, you fell into a depression. Apparently during that time, you had an accident here on the farm, and since then have been struggling with this. The last 6 or 7 years have been the worst. You've seen the best doctors, but no one's been able to help you kick this without medication." "Yes, I'm starting to recall the hospital visits. How did I pay for all that?" "Are you kidding me, Derek, with the coins? You don't remember?" He squinted his eyes as if searching his memory. "You came back with 3 coins from the 12th century. You made a killing on them. You bought everything around here. This is all your property for as far as you can see, Derek. You're rich. Of course, the coins, he said quietly. How is it that I ended up with those? Is that why I can't get rid of you? He asked with a chuckle. Hey, you didn't let anyone know you had them until 15 years ago or so. I was already here with you, so don't start. Besides, you offered to send me off with a small fortune years ago, and I told you where you could put it. Being here with you is my place. I don't give two hoots about the money, Derek, and you know that. Now I'll be waiting over by the fountain. Take your time with Andy, she said, giving him a short distance of privacy. He grinned mildly and then turned to Andy's tombstone, realizing once again that she was merely part of a distant, nearly forgotten part of his life. He had previously etched the words, "Find me," into the top of the cement. He suddenly remembered the very day he scripted those words so long ago. Recall instantly returned. I can't keep doing this. My goodness, it's like I just saw you yesterday, or today for that matter. But I've got to lay you to rest once and for all, my love. I've allowed my feelings, my yearnings for you to consume me, and I've missed out on life. You wouldn't have wanted that for me. He glanced over his shoulder back at Katie. Or for her, he added. It's past the time for me to move on. I'm not going to visit you again for a long time, he said, drawing a tear. I've got to close this chapter of my life, but know it'll always be the one I call my most cherished, the one worth living a lifetime for. You're the most incredible woman I've ever met, Andy Schaefer. You're the one no one else ever matched up to. He picked up a small stone and leaned over the tombstone. He etched the word "don't" in front of his prior scripting and kissed the top of the headstone. Even that one, he said in a regretful tone, recalling his kiss on her forehead so long ago. Then he stood up and walked away. Chapter 17.